Now you call Michael and Oliver that you will share your time.
Yeah.
You heard their time, okay. Take your time. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll take the... And we'll get rid of that.
Check, check. Okay.
Do you need one?
Okay.
Ah, okay.
So Michael will do the vocals, I the keys.
Yeah. So, yeah, hello everyone. We are like Oliver and Michael, and we basically are a company from Austria, from Linz. And yeah, we are here to show you something today that we hope that is helpful to improve scientific communication. And yeah, this thing is called Texture. And it is an open source like tool for editing XML, so basically JETS files that we just heard from Deborah. Because currently this is done manually and it's costing a lot of time to produce those XML files, and there's a lot of error. And yeah, so we had the idea of Texture a couple of years ago. And we developed that actually as a community project. So PKP was involved there, and they basically started. So we did the first round with them, and ROD also joined. Tanya was speaking this morning, and of course SciELO. And there's a first one, Eli from Cambridge, which we are working with for a couple of years. So we had a couple of design goals for this software. And one is that the article is represented as a document archive. That means the contents and the assets, such as images and so on, are basically all together. So they're in one place and self-contained. Another rule is that we use very strict XML tagging. So there's usually, journals are doing mostly the same things, but there are different ways to tag it in XML. And this kind of variation makes it hard to build tools that interoperate. So we are trying to be very strict to just have basically one tagging guideline for each use case. Yeah, and the most important design goal was to have a familiar user interface. So it should basically feel like a traditional word processor, like Microsoft Word, in order to be adopted, because we know there's a lot of tools around that help you with curating the XMLs, but they don't feel that good. And this is preventing users to really adopt it. Yeah. And another one is that the editor that we're building is easy to integrate. So you can have it embedded in a complete journal workflow, or you can use it standalone. And there are basically no limits how to integrate it, because it's really just having this document archive as an interface. All right, it's demo time.
Okay, then I take over. So we're always doing that together since the beginning, so we don't stop doing that, always sharing the stage. Okay, I already have opened the editor, so I hope it's not too surprising what you see. It's just an editor, and that's the most difficult part of it, not making a complicated interface, but something like Microsoft Word. And where you could just naturally edit that content. Deborah was talking before about the XML files, which is a kind of really complex content. It's not only paragraphs and headings, but a lot more. So we try hard now to create an interface which is just natural, and you don't need to think about how to encode things in XML. You just do it in a very natural way. But what we do is different to Microsoft Word, which lets you format things. You can do things in different font sizes, you can choose fonts, you can make things bold and italic, and use formatting tools to achieve what you want. But we are on the semantic track, so you choose the concept and add concepts to your content. And this is from the beginning semantical and not format oriented. So let's just, we have an application here. Texture is basically the same solution. It can be embedded into a web service. It's just the web server is integrated into a desktop application. And what you see is basically a view which is structured. So we have a different concept as Microsoft Word. There's a structured canvas. It's not just a white canvas where the title is just a random piece of content somewhere. So what you see is here in the top of the article, you find a title field. And you find authors and you find abstracts, and so let's scroll down. Okay, the natural order direction, I see. And here's the main text, which is the body. So, and there you can just, do regular stuff like you would expect. You just type, copy and paste. Of course, there's some means to format things. It's more in the sense of putting emphasis on two words than to actually make it bold. You can change the level of headings, or you can turn a paragraph into a heading. And what you see on the left side is a table of content which is automatically updating. So if I change the heading at some point, you immediately, instantly see the update in the table of contents. There are concepts like citations. So, for example, this one is really a citation referencing a reference from the reference list. It's as simple as just choosing, clicking something. The tool is taking care of the labeling, so everything is automatic. You don't need to think about anything. There are other things like, of course, you have figures. You can cite figures inside the document. Again, as easy as that. Here's a figure. In Word, you probably just put images somewhere into the text. Figures in scientific content are usually more structured. They have a title, might have a caption, and so on. So this is a bit different to what you would do in Word, but it's still very natural. And at the bottom of the thing, you find a back matter where you find the reference list generated. And when you change the order of citations in the article, this will update automatically. And now to the challenge this is now a nice authoring tool. What we also need is the metadata. So for the first, we aim for a tool for QC, so to do the actual production. It's easier to get into that market than to the authors, which are still using Microsoft Word, and pulling them away from this perfect tool. You have to say, UX-wise is pretty good. It's probably hard. So in the beginning, we are giving something to the publishers. And one, again, very natural way is to do QC. If you think about the XML file, there's a lot of data in it, but actually you could also present it as cards. There are pieces of information, and you present some forms and make it very easy to spot errors. So, for example, I could go to affiliations and check if everything looks good. I have a preview in the top, so if I change something here, the preview is updating, I can instantly see if the content is okay or not. And there's optional fields, so you're not forced to enter everything in it. Some people just need a part of the metadata, and some need more. But you can just put that away and then have a nice, easy interface again. So, and there's other things like, we saw that figures are basically belonging to the content. but you're going to see it here in that panel too, and you can add other things which maybe an author would not do in the first place. For example, a license or copyright statement. So there's other more advanced information which you can enter there, but still in a very natural way. It explains itself how it should be used. It's kind of a form, but it's still just an editor. For example, I can just type here and do undo, like it was in a regular editor. And if I go there and do a change here, then I can undo, and it will also undo at some point my changes in the figure. It's a very natural way to work with metadata and forms. Yeah, I would say that is what we have currently.
Big missing, I guess.
We have something important to do with that. We promised Abel to publish it. So everything is prepared. Yeah. Everything is prepared, and we just need to hit a button.
Yeah.
Shall we do that now?
Can we find the button?
I hope so. Can I help you?
You can. It's not that easy.
It's not that easy, yes.
Wait, with one hand. So, actually, you need to. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know how
Search
to do it. So we go to our repository now, and this one basically as a start. Then we go to, releases. We are already logged in, and then we go to edit, and then
now we need some drum solo or something.
Somebody, where's the champagne, the fireworks? Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. The thing is now out there, and you can download it. It's for free. It runs on OS X, it runs on Windows and on Linux. We are still ironing out bugs and so on, but we are continuing to work on it, but it's a very good start, and we are now starting integration, so that will be the next talk, and we continuously improve the whole thing.
Yeah. Maybe you want to show the website so that people know where to find the download.
So the website is just Substance.io without anything else.
Yeah. And there's a point menu, but you'll find it from there.
Here down, is it? Oh, in the menu. Yeah. So there's texture in the menu, and then you go down, and there's a link to the download. That's it.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, maybe with the SciELO demo, we have some minutes left.
Do we have more?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I would. We released it too early. Damn it. No, I just wanted to say a few words about the big picture, like how this could be useful at journals, because it was designed for journals intentionally. So the way we envision that roughly is to have a submission in Word, like it's done currently, and then to convert that document into a so-called document archive, which is basically it's a zip folder that has everything inside. And then the journal staff can use the journal staff and the reviewers can use a peer review system that's using the interface. Later on, production and QC will work with the tool, and eventually, as an output, you get ready to publish XML, like a high quality XML. You also get a PDF version generated automatically and an HTML version, so you can publish as a website. And this will enable also like smaller journals to basically support the publishing workflow, because there's not so much tech involved anymore. It's a closed cycle. So, I mean, this is just the start. It's the 1.0 version, which originally started, I think the work on this started 8 years ago or something. It was, first we were solving the general editing problem on web, on web-based systems. So to make possible systems like Word that are powered by the web browser. So in the next a couple of months, we're working on the next version already, so we already have a lot of to-dos, and we hope to be ready in February, end of February, to have another release with a lot of issues fixed and more things supported. Yeah, and what we will work on is PDF generation, not the two of us, but there's other groups that will help us with that. Solid conversion, that's the same thing. There's a group, yeah, like eLife, and yeah, we will cover that. And web page generation is something that we're currently working on, so that you basically write this article and then upload it to a web server, and you have your publication. You could do that even, you know, without a full submission. So like that's helpful for preprints, for instance, like a rapid publishing system. And what we have in mind, I mean, we're doing this now for journals primarily, but the long-term vision is that once it's like matured and really stable, that we promote the tool also for authors. And this will have the great impact that we no longer need to do conversion, and we no longer need to fix things and structure things. We can have the author do structured editing already. And this will basically, yeah, just speed up the thing quite much. And that's not all. So in the future, there's this topic of reproducibility. So what we're seeing here is static manuscripts, it's text and static images. But what we want to achieve in the future is having the data contained in the publication and having like a way to dynamically generate figures and so on, so that you, as a reader, can really reproduce every step that the scientist did, so you can really see the data and make sense of the methods that are done. So we have a little demo for that.
It's a web version. Okay, that's good.
Fine, yeah.
I mean, here's an example. It doesn't necessarily be a desktop application. It can just be a regular web page. It's JavaScript and CSS. Okay, so this is a good example that texture is not only, in first place, it takes care of content creation, so the scientific content, but you can now take the scientific content, the manuscript, and put something on top of it. And if you think about notebooks, so where you do programming and writing in one document, so like in an Excel sheet, you can program in a very simple way, and now think about it in a similar way, just in the Word document, where you can reference a sheet cell and use it for computation, and do that inside the document to, for example, generate a graph. And that's what's happening here. So there are some pieces in the manuscript. It looks basically like the manuscript before. So it's having a title, author's abstract, and then a body. And there's some pieces which are used for computation. Here, for example, this is just a simple computation as an example. It will just update you. You can, I mean, it's obvious what you can do. Scientists would probably do a little bit more complicated, but it's...
but that's all you can stop now.
I mean, that's it, basically. Or you can use data from a sheet. If you say C5, you get a new range of a table, which is lying right beside that manuscript, and you can use it for plotting. So here's a code which does some, here in that case, renders temperature and ice cream sales. Probably I should go back and add some more data again. So now we have the full thing. Now we see more points. So everything is done automatically. You don't need to think about it. It's a fabulous platform to do these modern computational and writing things. And living articles or explorable documents, so you can present it in a way where the readers can start diving into your article, first just reading it, and then if they are interested, diving into the computation and understand the algorithms or just the evaluation, how you did the statistics, or maybe you did some tricks. So this could help us to understand if some work is really honest or is like tricking, like cheating. I guess that's it. Some more?
No, I think that's it. Just to, yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Oliver.